Okay, so let's start. So today we're focusing a bit on this DPO. What is a DPO? What do they do? DPO stands for Data Privacy Officer. So these guys or these people, they work within the IT industry. Um, Basically, they are like the data privacy officer. So this job will, or this job title will require that you know some regulations or some legal terms, but also you need to know what's happening in the IT or cybersecurity. And this job can be internal, meaning the person can be an employee of the company, or can be external. So small companies usually they hire external um, DPOs, data privacy officers. So because they don't have a budget to hire a lot of people, so they hire DPO when it's needed. Large companies they can hire these people or this job roles permanently. So what is their job? They assess GDPR compliance. This is for the companies that are based in Europe. They will need a DPO to assess this GDPR. So even if a company is not based, someone wants to join. Let me allow them. Okay, okay. Welcome, Jerry. So today we're focused on data privacy. We'll focus on this DPO, data privacy officer. Okay, let me allow talent. Okay, welcome, talent. So we just started. Today we're focused on DPO, data privacy officer. So what do they do? What are they focused on? What is their job role? So for companies that work with or companies that process data for European citizens, they would need a DPO to assess GDPR compliance. So even if the company is based in South Africa or anywhere in the world, but as long as it works with data that belongs to European citizens, they will need a data privacy officer to assess the GDPR compliance. So the European Union, they want to protect the data of their citizens no matter which or no matter where the data is processed. So as a DPO, whether you are an internal employee of a company or you've been hired for only for a project, you will need to conduct this, and you would start by interviewing the top management to figure out the data lifecycle or how data is processed, what data do they process, so that you can conduct the GDPR. Now, to conduct this GDPR, you have to know the data privacy principles. So all of these are part of GDPR. GDPR is the regulations, legal or the laws of Europe in terms of how you must work with the data of the European citizens. Now, even in my position right now, because the company I work for is a multinational company, I also conduct a lot of this. So the first principle is the data that we are collecting. So let me give you an example. If you work for, let's say, MTN or Vodacom, clients information, you for ID numbers to process the SIM cards. Now, this principle will require that the collection should be lawful. No? So the principle or the first principle says, was the processing lawful, fair, and transparent? Meaning, did you inform the client when you collected their information that you will use their information, and how will you use the information? And then the second principle, was the collection for a specified, explicit, and legitimate purpose? Meaning, if you need data for a certain period, that must be specified. It must be clear, and the user or whoever's giving the data must acknowledge and agree. And it must be only for legitimate purposes. So, meaning that I cannot ask you to provide your car registration number if you are trying to get a cell phone contract. What registration number? So I must only collect only what is needed. Is data through processing only what is adequate. So this is what I was talking about. Only collect what is necessary and nothing more. Now, because if you collect more data, when the auditors, when they come and audit you, they will want to find out which all the data that you are collecting, can you show what you're using it for? So if you're just collecting data for the sake of collecting data, then that means you are breaching this principle. So is personal data accurate and up to date? Meaning that the data which the user provides you they must provide, and it must be up to date. Somebody works for a company, they just got married, or maybe had a child, they need to update all that information with the HR department because that's new information. Is personal data kept when it's no longer necessary? This is meaning that if the data is no longer needed, it must be deleted. It shouldn't be kept. Okay, and then principle 6, data, meaning all the personal data that you're collecting from, is it protected? Does it have enough so that it does not get disclosed to unauthorized users? So auditors will check when you collect data from clients. Do you have antivirus software? Do you have encryption in place? Is the data protected when you is it password protected? So they check all that information. So even if something happens, if the data gets hacked for some reason, but at least you took some steps to to protect that data. Now, if you don't have any measures, um, then you as the company, you are liable for that data breach, and that means you can be sued because you did not have any data protection measures in place. And then this one, last principle, basically this one just says that whoever's processing all of these things are in place. Let's go to Jerry. You have a question? Mm. In Europe, Yes, and they do. Some other countries are very strict when it comes to the data. So in South Africa, it's still something they're trying to implement. It's not yet implemented. So we'll see. Maybe they'll implement it, but I know that it's something that they were talking about, and I don't know how far it is, but I know that most of us we still get calls from insurance companies and all these other companies trying to sell us all their products, and we never registered with their platforms, but for some reason they do have our data. So let's see if the information regulator will be able to deal with this problem. But I know in other countries it's very, very strict when it comes to that. Cool. Let me change the speaker settings. Okay, let's have a look at some of these questions. Okay, let's have a look at the first one. Which certification is primarily associated with data privacy, as mentioned in the text? Which certification is for data privacy? Okay, A. Okay, next question. What is the primary responsibility of a data protection officer regarding data privacy principles? Yeah, correct answer is C. No? Okay, next question. Business might go and not an internal one. Yeah, correct answer is C. No? Small companies might not be able to afford a permanent DPO, a data privacy officer, who's going to be their employee. So might hire a DPO only for a certain period when it's needed. Which data privacy principle focuses on legality, fairness, and transparency of data processing? Yeah, correct answer is B. No? Okay, we'll come back to this one. So a DPO basically will provide guidance regarding this compliance, DPIA, technical assessments. Compliance, this one is regarding the regulations, the laws. And then this one, DPIA technical assessments. DPIA stands for Data Privacy Impact Assessments. as a DPO, you need to assess whether when a new project or new system is going to implement or is going to be implemented in a company, are the security measures in place? For example, if a new surveillance or video surveillance system is going to be implemented, how is that data or that footage going to be protected? For example, if you work for ShopRite, they are installing new video surveillance there to watch over customers and employees. So you need to check, will there be a video footage room where the security will stay in that room and nobody else will enter? What are the protection measures to ensure that that footage, because that's sensitive data, and then you also need to provide guidance as a DPO regarding this privacy by design, meaning that at the beginning stage of every application or system, when it's being implemented or being designed, it's your job to check if the data privacy principles are part of the process. So when they design that new system or when they're about to implement a new system in a company, does it follow the data principles? Does it follow these principles? And the reason for that is to decrease the risk of personal data being disclosed to unauthorized personnel. Okay, now let's talk about this one, cross-border data transfer. Now, because we live in a global world and some of these companies are multinationals, they do share data from one country to another. So there are some certain processes that need to be in place for that data to be shared across different countries. So there's different laws which apply in different countries. So some countries don't allow like data about the citizens to be shared. For instance, if you have a company that operates in Russia, the data that you process or which belongs to the citizens of Russia must stay in Russia. It cannot go out. China is also the same way. USA is also trying to do some of those. For instance, they're saying that TikTok or the portion of US TikTok must keep their data in the US. Or TikTok must sell um, the TikTok division of US must be sold to US investors, and the data must remain also in the USA for USA citizens. For us here in or South Africa or Africa, um, yeah, we don't have stricter laws, so people do, or these companies, they do as they wish for now. But lately, I think last week, I've seen something where Facebook was forced to share. It was taken to court. Let me see. I think it's this one. So any Facebook account that posts content that contains minors, children, and um, all those accounts, or whoever owns the account will be forced. If maybe you post my child without my consent, I'll have the right to know who's that person. I can go I can go to Facebook and say who's posting the details of my children online without my consent. They're putting my children's safety in a negative light. Therefore, I need to sue this person. So Facebook, they'll be so basically it will be they'll be forced to give me the details of the person who owns that account so that I can sue them. I'll find the article, but yeah, I saw something like that. Oh, Jerry, question. Yeah. When it comes to cross border, it's the government. In Russia, it's the government. So let me share the screen. In South Africa, we have this department or this company, which is owned by the government, information regulator. Every country will have their own information regulator. In Europe, it will be this European Data Protection Board. So these guys will enforce the laws to say companies are not allowed to transfer data across to different countries. In China, they also have their own regulator. All right. But for us here in South Africa, the information regulator does allow us to transfer data as long as we follow the data protection laws of South Africa, which is POPIA. So, like last week, we were doing a project where we had to transfer data from Tanzania to UAE, Dubai, but the regulators in Tanzania, they want us to provide this proof of consent from the data subjects that their data can be transferred to another country. So that meaning that whoever's data that we are going to transfer, they need to provide consent and say, yes, my data can be transferred. And we provide the details of why it needs to be transferred. It's for this purpose. It will be stored here for this long. And there are automatic deletion processes in place when it's no longer needed. We have to provide all of that information. Once we provide all of that, then the regulator in Tanzania will approve and say, yes, you can transfer the data of the citizens. If we do it now without all of this, then the company can be sued or it can be fined. And the platforms that we use to transfer data from one location to another should have a clear privacy policy. So right now we're using Microsoft Azure. So the employees who are based in Tanzania, all that data right now is stored in here, Microsoft Azure. and the main head office is in Dubai, also uses this uh, transfer of data from. We need, whatever the regulator in Tanzania needs, we need to provide all of that information first. And if you go here, Microsoft Azure, it must have a privacy policy. Stored, why is it being stored? Demonstrate um, how it will be deleted when it's no longer needed. Measures that are in place to protect the data. Shows you that it's currently complies with GDPR and all these laws. So that's what a privacy policy is. And it gives all the information regarding the website or service on how to collect, use, to store, share, or protect personal information. Some questions. Okay, let's have a look. Question 5. A company is planning to implement a video surveillance. So what specific assessment should the DPO provide guidance on to show adequate protection measures for the footage? So what must a DPO do to ensure that a system has adequate measures in place when a new system is being implemented? Okay, correct answer is C. DPO must conduct a DPIA, data protection impact assessment, the technical assessment. When assessing GDPR compliance, what action is specifically mentioned as a way to gather information from top management? So how do you gather information from top management? Okay, correct answer is A, yes. Okay, next one. What is the primary goal of privacy by design when a new application is created or purchased? Okay, let's see what you guys say. Correct answer is B, no? To decrease the risk of personal data being disclosed. Okay, 8. Which privacy or which data privacy principle addresses the concept of collecting only necessary and relevant personal data? Let's see what you guys say. Okay, correct answer is D, no? Data minimized through processing only what is adequate, relevant, and necessary. So what kind of agreement is required for cross-border data transfer between different countries? So when data is moving from one country to another, there needs to be an agreement. Okay, correct answer is B, ne? Data transfer agreement. Okay, which data privacy principle is concerned with preventing unauthorized loss or disclosure of personal data? Okay, let's see what you guys say. So you guys are saying B. It's wrong, ne? It's A. To prevent unauthorized loss or disclosure of personal data, you must have security or the appropriate security. Okay, let's go to 11. Beyond the agreement, what specific proof is required from the data or from the data subject for cross-border data transfer? For data to be transferred from one country to another, what is required from the users whose data will be transferred? Okay, let's see. What do you guys say? Okay. Yes, correct answer is D. Proof of consent. What type of information should a privacy policy clearly outline about an organization's data practices? Okay, let's see what you guys say. Okay. Yes, privacy policy will show you all of this. How data is collected, used, stored, shared. So when a company implements a new application, why should the DPO be involved to ensure data privacy principles are part of the process? So why should the DPO be involved when a new application is being implemented? Okay, let's see what you guys say. Yes, correct answer is A. Yeah? To decrease the risk of personal data being disclosed. Okay, which data privacy principle ensures that personal data is kept current and accurate? Okay, what do you guys say? Let's okay. What detail should a data transfer agreement as described include regarding the data once destination? What do you guys say? What do you think should be included on the data transfer agreement? Uh, okay, I see some of you are saying B. Okay, correct answer is this one. Secure deletion of data once it's no longer needed. So the data transfer agreement should state once the data is no longer useful, how are they going to be deleted? Is it going to be automatic or is it a manual process? Okay. Okay, today's lesson was a bit short. So data privacy is not too technical. It's mostly about regulations and how to protect um, data subjects. So tomorrow, let's meet again to continue this data privacy. But if you have any questions, let me know. Let me see, what's the date? I think tomorrow might be the last. Let's see. Yeah, tomorrow might be the last day. Okay, do you have any questions before we knock off? No questions. Okay. If you do have, you let me know. Send me on WhatsApp, and then let's meet again tomorrow, same time. All right, cool. All right, cool.